Hey folks, it's Coon with Fighting for Fitness. I'm coming to you with my second video about COVID-19, and specifically in this video I want to talk about our post-quarantine process. So right now, as I think all of you know, I live in Fairbanks, Alaska. We have about 43 cases of COVID-19. Thus far in the state of Alaska, based on the information that I have, there have been no deaths. And I believe as of last night, there were no hospitalizations. However, there has been one Alaskan that did die outside of Alaska, and I believe that one is hospitalized in serious or critical condition. So that's where we are right now. However, the state of Alaska is under a pretty significant lockdown. We have been directed to quarantine after not only travel outside of the United States, but even in-state travel. They're expecting us to do a 14-day quarantine after travel. So what I want to talk about right now is the benefits and the shortcomings of this quarantine or the social distancing protocols that we're under right now, and what happens after the social distancing. So we're going to get into that part right now. As you know, the reason that we're doing the social distancing is to flatten the curve. Now, to put that in context, I'm pretty sure everybody understands that if we do nothing as a society and this COVID-19 virus spreads unchecked, hitting the affected population, it will potentially and very likely overwhelm our EMS system. Very specifically, it's our intensive care units and our ventilators that we need in order to provide life-sustaining care. But my concern specifically is what's going to happen to us after we decide that quarantining everyone and social isolation it's just not sustainable. So here's my concern. If we don't come up with a vaccination, which no one suspects that we're going to come up with a vaccination within the next 8 weeks, everyone is agreeing that it's probably closer to a year, maybe a year and a half out. The other thing is we're working on some treatments right now, but they're all kind of in the infancy of that process. But there is certainly hope for better treatment protocols. If we flatten the curve, and if everyone were 100% compliant and our curve is flat, well, once we start to socialize again, there's the potential that instead of just flattening the curve, we're going to delay the curve and then it's going to spike again. So what I want to start to convey, and I want to get the message out there, is maybe there are some better protocols that are going to be as effective, because there are some very specific elements about the coronavirus or COVID-19 that we can use to our advantage. One of the good things, and good is relative, right? But as far as managing the pandemic, one of the things that we have to our advantage as far as managing the pandemic is the fact that it is very select. So this is a very discriminatory disease. Unlike the regular flu that really affects all ages and stages of life, again, it varies, but very, very young are also susceptible and potentially can die from the traditional seasonal flu, as well as the elderly. But in this case, it certainly appears that it's very age proportional. The older you get, the higher you are at risk, and certainly anybody with respiratory or cardiovascular compromise, and most specifically respiratory. So here's a word picture that I want to create for you in order to give you what I believe is going to be the best way for you as an individual who either may be immune compromised, or you have family members, or if you're just viewing how this needs to operate as a society. I'm going to use the example of a computer virus. Now understand, I am not a computer guy, and this word picture, if you will, it can break down if you really want to dive into the minutia, but it's a broad picture concept that I want to use that hopefully will bring some clarity as to how we're going to need to move forward. Let's just say I was a lot smarter than I actually am, and I knew how to create a computer virus. And if I created that computer virus, I would create it to achieve a specific goal and with a very specific target. So let's say, for the example of my computer virus, I want to attack PCs, and I want to attack any PCs that's running an operating system older than Windows 10. Now, I know that when I create the virus, but the rest of the world doesn't know that. So all of a sudden, I hit the go button, I launch my virus out into the world, and a few details that people don't know. One of the things that people don't know about my virus is anybody with an iPhone is completely immune. If you just have an iPhone, you're completely immune. The virus it won't even touch the phone. But we don't know that when that first comes out. And the other thing is, any Apple product users, they can't get infected, but they could carry the virus. And also any PCs that are running Windows 10 can carry it, but it won't do any harm. So when that virus first comes out and I do this big blitz, when I release it to every internet user on the planet. The really smart people are going to say, hey, this virus, we don't know what it is, we don't understand it. Everyone needs to stop, absolutely stop using the internet, because if you do get infected with this virus, with my computer virus, and you are part of the susceptible community, it is going to destroy your computer, everything on it, and it's going to kick it out to everyone else on the planet. So the direction that we would get at the very beginning would be everybody stop using the internet, disconnect completely, isolate from the internet. Don't use your cell phone, don't use Wi-Fi, don't use anything, completely disconnect. But then as time goes on, as people get smarter and they become more educated, they realize, hey, this isn't affecting all the users. In fact, it's very specifically affecting this particular target group. Now that's going to take a long time to evolve. But once we understand that, hey, this specific virus only targets those people that are running a PC-based computer, and it only affects those that are running any operating system that is older than Windows 10, we could then give guidance that everyone else that is using a Mac or current PC software, Android users, they can all go about life normally, but the people that are using that older software system cannot get on the internet, because if they do get on the internet, the virus is going to be everywhere and they're going to get smacked and they're going to get wiped out. So that would be how we would handle that virus until we could come up with a system or a mechanism in order to solve the problem for the virus for those computers that are actually most susceptible. Does that make sense? What I want you to do is think about that, let it resonate. There are a few countries that have actually put those protocols in place at the early onset, and only time's going to tell whether that's going to be effective. But what I do know is we can't stay in isolation or in quarantine or maintain social distancing forever. At some point, we're going to have to start mixing as a society again. The virus is not going to go away. We're not trying to cure it right now. I mean, we're trying to cure it right now, but we don't have a cure for it right now. We're just trying to sustain. We're trying to flatten that curve. That means people are still going to continue to get sick. The virus is still going to continue to spread. But what we're hoping is we develop treatments and we develop vaccines. But the main thing is that we don't overwhelm our healthcare system. Because if we do overwhelm our healthcare system, specifically ICU beds, then even those people that need to get admitted to ICU for other illnesses won't have a spot. And then we start to have catastrophic failure of the system. I hope that makes sense. I hope it's of some value to you. If it is helpful and you do think that there's value and you think it might be beneficial, please share this with your friends that are concerned. There's a whole bunch of, I think, different perspectives, and there's a whole lot of fear out there. But if we approach this thinking long term, I think that's going to be our best case for long-term success and to protect those people in our community that are most vulnerable. Remember, you're not too old, it's not too late. There's never been a better time to emphasize why it's so important to keep your body healthy. You need a strong immune system, You need a strong respiratory system, and that's going to make a big, big difference in your ability to fight off, survive, or possibly not even catch this virus. Because if you're not a receptive host, because your immune system is super strong, think of it as bouncing off your body and then you don't carry it. It's not 100% true scientifically, but the concept is still there. You do have some control. For most people, you do have some control as to your susceptibility. You can't control your age, but as I've been trying to preach throughout this channel, we need to be healthy. We need to take care of our bodies. If there's ever been an opportunity to communicate why it is important for you as an individual to take personal responsibility for your health and have that reason to get motivated to get up off the couch, this is the time. This is the time to change your diet, start eating good, healthy, nutritionally dense foods, bolster your immune system. It may, in this particular case, save your life from COVID-19, but it can also save your life from heart disease, it can save your life from diabetes, and a host of other health-related illnesses that you do have control over. If you haven't seen it, check out my other video on COVID-19, why I'm a little more optimistic than most people out there. Give that a watch and let me know in the comment section below what your thoughts are. Remember, you're not too old, you're not too late. It's never been more important to get in shape, so get after it. Woo! I gotta get in shape.